Welcome to Living with Student Loan Debt, a webinar for student support services. We would like to remind you that there is a phone link for this webinar and that you will need to mute your phone. Today we would like to start by introducing our presenters on the webinar. And first of all, we would ask Dr. Sharon Danis to come on with us. Dr. Danis is a professor and family economist in family social science for the University of Minnesota. Sharon?
Hi. I worked with the three extension educators who are presenting today, and I worked with them in the development of the webinar content. But my job today is to monitor.
Thanks, Sharon. We'd also like to introduce the extension educators that are presenting today. Today we have extension educators Jennifer Garbo from the Crookston Regional Extension Office and Becky Hagen-Jokula from the Cloquet Regional Extension Office that will be presenting. And I'm Lori Hendrickson, extension educator from the Grand Rapids Regional Extension Office. Again, we'll remind you that if you have questions throughout the webinar, please place them in the chat area for Dr. Danis to respond. Once again, welcome to the webinar, and we look forward to your participation today. When considering living with student loan debt, there are 3 A's in decision making and possible actions to take. These are accepting debt, accumulating debt, and attacking debt repayment. And in this webinar, we will address 2 of these 3 action stages. We realize that the issue of student loan debt is an overwhelming one, so to narrow the scope a bit today, our webinar objectives are to provide you with information to assist students in making informed decisions before accepting student loan debt, and to introduce some web tools to assist students when they have decided to accept and accumulate educational debt. We welcome your thoughts on topics for additional webinars and areas in which you feel additional resources would be beneficial to you. As our team began looking at the issue of post-secondary debt, we began exploring what was currently happening and what factors make post-secondary debt different from other debt problems. The following were the factors that we explored. Americans now owe more on student loan debt than on credit cards. Due to the cost of college, there is a growing need for planning to pay for college. Right now, 6 out of 10 families do not have a financial plan upon student enrollment. And the long-term effects of student loan debt can have many impacts on life after college. This is debt that will not go away, even in bankruptcy, so we need to identify how to handle the debt. This is a graphic from the Sallie Mae National Study of College Students and Parents, 2013. In reviewing how families are paying for college, we found that grants and scholarships account for the largest percentage of funds, followed by parent income and savings, student borrowing, student income and savings, parent borrowing, and lastly, contributions of relatives and friends. We see that families are adapting to pay for college. Scholarship use has increased to account for 30% of college costs, up from 25% 4 years ago. Parent income and savings accounted for 27% in this year's study, but that was reduced considerably from 2010, when parent income and savings accounted for 37% of funding. Families are also considering school choice in college costs and are becoming quite cost conscious. However, there is still an increased belief in the value of college. 85% of parents agree that it is an investment in a child's future, and that's up from 81% in 2009. Our team conducted a literature review to see what problems remained once students had graduated and we're dealing with repayment of post-secondary debt. In the next few slides, we'll review the major themes that we've identified. Delayed life plans is the first of these themes. Post-secondary debt has impact on what we would generally consider life stage tasks of young adults, including delayed entry into marriage, beginning a family, and purchasing of a home. Stress and impact on relationships is another theme. The author in this study indicates that long-term adverse financial circumstances may affect psychological well-being, interpersonal and family relationships, and potentially students' ability to successfully transition into adulthood. Lost hopes and dreams is another theme. Higher outstanding debt may induce students to choose more lucrative occupations in the short term. This author goes on to say that this may lead to slower earning growth for individuals and as a result have economic impacts, with individuals not saving for future expenditures and ultimately postponing retirement savings. But the losses are more than economic. In another study, Rothstein and Roos concluded that when students were provided grants rather than loans and relieved of the possible accumulation of debt, they shifted towards jobs in public service industries, indicating they may have preferences for certain types of jobs, but that they chose others to deal with the accumulated debt. But what is the cost in terms of talent, contributions, and passion for the careers that they may have abandoned? Long-term financial security is another theme. While parent borrowing for college expenses has remained fairly consistent over the past 5 years, the share of college costs covered by student borrowing has increased last year from previous years. When individuals are paying down debt, the effects are not only personal, but ripple across the economy and may contribute to the inability to save for their own future financial security and that of the next generation. As staff working with students, it's important to understand what students know, what they need to know, and where we can fill the knowledge gaps in order to help them make appropriate decisions for their situations and to become critical consumers in the loan process. So as we move on, we will begin to look at resources and tools to assist students in understanding loans before they accept debt, and those tools to assist students in making decisions to limit the debt accumulated while attending an institution. Jennifer will now lead us through the decisions and tools before students accept loans.
Thank you, Lori. The first of the 3 A's in decision making and action stages for students is understanding loans before accepting them. With the passage of the Student Aid and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2010, all federal loans are now offered through the U.S. Department of Education and not through private institutions. The Minnesota Attorney General's Office website offers information about the various types of loans as well as many student-focused publications. Before a student accepts a student loan, they must know the total costs, need to get as much information as possible, and review their options. This next section of the presentation will review the decision-making process and the resources to help students gain the knowledge needed to make informed choices. This is a simple model student support service staff can use when they work with parents and students to determine what options are available to the student to best meet their needs to pay for their education. We will walk through the step-by-step process to help you become familiar with taking students through the decision-making model. For our purposes today, the student's decision will be to take out a loan. In step 1, once the student understands the total cost of their education, they will need to first ask themselves, should I take out a student loan? Step 2 begins to explore all of the options available to the student. In this step, students may consider that multiple options are the right approach for them to pay the costs. For example, they may need to take out a loan to pay for the cost of tuition and fees, and then apply for a work-study position on campus to pay for their living expenses for the semester. In step 3, students consider all of the pros and cons to the options. At this point in the decision-making model, students are introduced to the potential downside to each decision. They may then decide to revisit their options. In step 4, when the student comes to the decision to take out a student loan, they understand the costs and are informed of all of their options available to them to meet their needs. Again, for our purpose today, the choice is to take out a student loan. This met my needs, but after the first semester, I realized that I needed to stick to a spending plan so I wouldn't have to take out another loan. In addition to this scenario, the student may also determine that they need to work over the summer to save money, consider other living options to reduce expenses, or adjust number of credits they will enroll for each semester. And here is the actual worksheet. This is available for you to download to use with your students and parents if applicable. We're having a little technical difficulty. If you wouldn't mind just being patient. The 5 steps for the decision-making worksheet is a really simple way that a student can go through a decision-making process. So we're using it, for example, in determining whether or not a student should take out a student loan. However, you can also use this worksheet with students in terms of thinking about money management, if there is a particular decision that they need to make. It can be used for multiple options and is very beneficial when working with students. So we really encourage you to take a look and print off the worksheet after the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, all right. So FindAid was established in the fall of 1994 as a public service to help students look for ways to finance their education. It is known as a comprehensive, informative, and objective source of student financial aid information, advice and tools on or off the web. FindAid is free for all users, and there is no charge to link to the site, and it is often a first stop on the web for students as they seek guidance on acquiring financial aid. FindAid serves as a student's guide to financial aid information for students, parents, and financial aid administrators and educators. Scholarships, loans, savings, military aid, hints to winning scholarships, other types of aid, financial aid applications, answers to questions, calculators, and beyond financial aid are just a few of the options that you have available to you. So in particular, the calculators can help students with estimating college costs, loan payments, and expected family contributions, and more. The Department of Ed's mission is to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access. The Department of Ed was created in 1980, and their mission is to 1. Identify policies on federal financial aid for education and distributing and monitoring funds. 2. Collect data on America's schools and sharing research. 3. Focusing national attention on key educational issues. And 4. Prohibiting discrimination and ensuring equal access to education. Financial shopping sheet. This webpage provides students, families, and institutions with resources and background about the development of the shopping sheet. It is a PDF tool, a standardized form to help consumers compare institutions and make informed decisions about where to attend school. Institutions use the form to notify students about their financial aid package. As of July 2013, over 750 institutions have voluntarily adopted the shopping sheet, representing institutions nationwide from all sectors of higher education. We'd now like to do a poll. Please tell us if you are currently using the financial aid shopping sheet with your students.
Sorry, the poll is now open. It took a minute for it to click in, so.
Okay, so now please, if you wouldn't mind sharing whether or not you're using the financial aid shopping sheet with your students. Okay, so we see 4 are responding. If we'll give it just another few seconds for the remaining participants on this call to respond whether or not you are using the financial aid shopping sheet with your students. Okay, we'll close the poll. Thank you so much for sharing. And now Becky will be talking to you about living with student loan debt.
Thank you, Jennifer. We will now look at living with student loan debt accumulated while in college. The second of the 3 A's brings us to helping students as they accumulate debt through student loans. In this section, we will review resources to assist students learn to manage their finances and to limit the debt accumulated. The first resource that we will review is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau works to ensure that consumers receive the information they need to make the best possible financial decisions for themselves and their families, and in addition to give consumers the information they need to understand the terms of their agreements with financial companies. There are several items on this website that are helpful for students to help them make those important decisions. Let's take a look at them. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau section on paying for college helps students to compare college costs, financial aid offers, and choose the loan appropriate for their needs. In addition, it offers to help students manage their money. We will take a closer look at some of the tools available. As a part of the Know Before You Owe project, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau worked with the Department of Education to create a financial aid shopping sheet, which we previously viewed. Now that hundreds of colleges are adopting this clear and comparable form, the Bureau has built a tool that complements the shopping sheet to help students make comparisons tailored to their individual circumstances. If you are working with students who have received financial aid offers, this tool may be used to understand how all those numbers impact their payments down the road. The Bureau's page on managing your money helps students to identify their needs for a financial institution and financial accounts. The site helps students look at options available to them in accessing the financial institution and information. There is an action sheet available to help students make this decision. Another resource is finaid.org. We have viewed this page already as a source of information before taking out a loan, but the site also provides a loan payment calculator. This calculator computes an estimate of the size of your monthly loan payment and the annual salary required to manage those payments without too much financial difficulty. This loan calculator can be used with federal education loans such as the Stafford, Perkins, and Plus, as well as most private student loans. Another resource, the Cash Course, provides financial education resources for colleges. It's online, it's free, it's non-commercial, and it's brought to you by the National Endowment for Financial Education, commonly called NEFI. It is the only nonprofit foundation dedicated to improving the well-being of all Americans. 26 institutions used Cash Course out of 148 post-secondary institutions, and that included everything from short-term certificate programs to research doctorate programs. So you can see there's an opportunity to impact the effect of debt accumulation of students. Here are some additional points of interest regarding Cash Course. The course can help your students build money management skills, survive in a tough economy, prepare for success. And in addition, one can customize the website as it's dual branded with your college information as well as NEFI's. It provides easy access to financial resources for your students. Also, the course is of low maintenance, provides high value, and amazingly enough, it is of zero cost. Cash Course maintains the site content and provides templates for marketing materials. Workshop materials are also provided once your school enrolls with Cash Course, and you will have additional teaching resources at your fingertips. At this time, we'll do another poll question, and that is, do you currently use the NEFI Cash Course? So if you'd please respond, we'll see what results we have. Okay, we'll close the poll. It looks like we have 6 responses, which is great. Thank you. So going on with NEFI, some additional information just to take a look at the topics listed on the Cash Course site as students would view it. As you can see, the site takes your students through financial basics, paying for college, their finances in college life, and then on to the world of work. For those of you in TRIO programs, there are materials available especially for TRIO programs. And if you will look at the financial basics, please note the timely topics, everything from current and future financial needs. For example, budgeting and overspending, all the way to planning for retirement. The form to enroll your college in Cash Course is simple and available online. There are also frequently asked questions to answer any additional questions you might have. Here is a list of Minnesota institutions using Cash Course. You may know someone at one of these colleges that can tell you about their program. And it looks like we have had a couple participants on here today that represent the institutions. We, as the University of Minnesota Extension, also have resources to assist you in your role working with students. Currently, this is the web page as you would see it now, but our web page is in transition. The next slide shows the URL that you will soon find the information on. Please note our University of Minnesota URL, and to highlight the resources from the University of Minnesota Extension, they include a webinar resource list, the 5-step decision-making worksheet, credit strategies for college students, spending strategies for going off for college, and college transition, in addition to managing your college life resources. Today, in summary, we have highlighted web resources and tools to assist students in making informed decisions before accepting loan debt, and also to assist students around accepting and accumulating debt. So at this time, Sharon, are there any participant questions you would like to address from the chats?
Yes, there are, Becky. I currently have two.
Okay.
One of them is people are asking how they download the decision worksheet and the resource list. That's one question. And the second is, will this information be shared with students and how?
Okay, as far as the information being downloaded, we're going to, in just a couple of minutes, put up the file share pod, and you'll be able to download those by clicking on each resource and then going ahead and saving to your computer. We have that file share that we can put up right now and let you go ahead and do that. The other question was regarding sharing the presentation with others, and that's something that we're looking at adapting this current presentation and then sharing with parents and students, and we would make that available online.
And we are hoping to identify future topics to have additional webinars, and we will be announcing future dates and topics through time. Are there any other questions? We'd like to thank you for participating in our webinar today and hope you have gained additional insight into information and tools needed to assist students living with student loan debt. And remember that here's the download information that they're listed, the resource list, the 5-step decision-making worksheet, and our presentation PowerPoint. And as Lori mentioned, to access the downloads, please click on each item and save to your computer. Also, please take time to access the session evaluation. Just click on the web link, browse to go to the survey. But please note that as you access, please do so at the end of the session, as once you leave the webinar space, you will need to re-enter to return. In addition, we are interested in finding out what actions were taken following the webinar and the numbers of people reached. So a follow-up evaluation will be emailed to you by late November. Last chance for questions. Are there any additional thoughts, or some of you who have used MIFI Cash Course, any comments would be appreciated as well. Feel free to share in the chats. Okay, so again, thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you well as you continue to assist your students on their exciting and important educational journey. Thank you so much.